The phone has a dedicated red button. This red button is used to raise the alarm. If you press it for several seconds, it raises an alarm that, if not cancelled, will cause a GPS position to be sent to a monitoring server and an automatic speakerphone call to be placed without the user having to press any other buttons. The yellow button on the 2 key is used to indicate that the user does not have an emergency right now, but may be going into an area of higher risk. Perhaps they're climbing a scaffold, or going down a trench, or they're going into a bad part of town. In this situation, the yellow button will set up enhanced monitoring for that user, GPS tracking, and often the requirement to check in every 10 minutes with base and prove that they're okay. The green button is typically used just to indicate that the user has started their shift or ended their shift, so they're not monitored when they aren't working. In fact, the yellow and green buttons can be customized by the monitoring service provider to set up just the kind of behavior that the end user's company would like to have. Let's take a quick tour of the user interface of the Sonim XP3340 Sentinel. On the top row we can see a couple of icons. The red dot with the yellow circle indicates that the lone worker mode is simple mode. In simple mode, we're not tracking the GPS position right now, but we are in contact with the server and the phone is waiting for an emergency event such as the red button to be pressed. A long press of the red button triggers a manual alarm. After a few seconds where you can cancel the alarm, the phone will send a GPS position to the server and go into alarm mode, which you can see from the red lightning bolt on the yellow background. The satellite icon is green, showing that we do have a current GPS position. Now the phone makes an automatic emergency call to the emergency response center and places it on the speakerphone without further user intervention. Even if the user is lying injured away from the phone, we can still talk to the emergency response center through the noise cancelling microphone. Another way that an emergency can be detected is through the use of the 3-axis accelerometer. This can be configured to detect various types of emergency events, including free fall, impact, no movement for a length of time, or excessive tilt, i.e. when a worker falls over and doesn't get up. In this demonstration I'll just show a free fall. Man down detected the impact. The user has a few seconds to cancel during this tone. Now, the phone sends a GPS position to the monitoring server. In a few seconds, without further intervention, it will place an automatic emergency call, just as if the user had pressed the red button. Imagine our user is fallen down and injured. The phone makes the emergency call, and the emergency response center will answer and help will be summoned. Finally, of course, like all Sonim phones, this phone is ultra rugged. That means it can be taken up a tree and dropped by a forestry worker. It won't be damaged by crushing, perhaps from logs in that forest. It will survive dirt, wastewater, oil, petroleum, antifreeze. It's crush resistant. The screen is Gorilla Glass. It can be dropped from 2 meters or 6'6" and submerged to 2 meters or 6'6" and continue to work. When your life depends on a safety solution, then it's critically important that the phone survives any condition which you may survive and many that you may not.